Yes, I've done that. I was thinking about negotiating though. And really, we all negotiate all the time. Think about it. Do you negotiate with your spouse for different things? I bet you do. Do you negotiate with your friends? Sure, you do. You negotiate in business? Well, sometimes and sometimes not. Depends on what you do. As I was thinking back on my times of negotiating, the place that really stuck in my mind was when I partnered with a friend of mine down in Los Angeles, and we started our own construction company. We had worked together for quite a few years before that with a large contractor down in Los Angeles, and we worked together. He was the project engineer, I was the project superintendent, and we worked very close together. He did all the contracts and put those together, and I put the building together. So I wasn't really involved in negotiating the contracts at that time, but I did have to negotiate with these people to get the job done. And sometimes it was negotiating with an iron fist, and sometimes it was trying to persuade somebody to do something that I needed to get done, but they had a challenge doing it. So there were all different types of negotiations going on during that time. One thing that really stands out, though, is when my partner and I used to go to negotiate the contracts with the owners, we would walk in and we had a document with us that was our financial statement. And we learned this from the company that we used to work for. It was a big contractor, actually one of the biggest contractors in Los Angeles at the time, C.L. Peck. And what C.L. Peck used to do was when they went to negotiate a contract, multi-million-dollar contracts they had, they would walk in the room and Claire Peck would put his financial statement on the table and then sit down and let the people look at his financial statement. Well, we thought that was a pretty neat idea. So we started doing that. And by golly, you take these two little guys just trying to get something going and walk in with that kind of posture, boy, it had one heck of an effect. We got a lot of jobs that way. In fact, our first job was building the interior development for Amgen Corporation. And if you remember them, they're a biotech company that started a lot of research back in 1982, 83, I think it was. And we got that contract with no problem at all. Well, we thought, what the heck, this is good. So why did we do those types of things? Because when you go in to negotiate something, you need to be coming from a strong place of knowing not only what you're doing, but who you are and why you're there, and to demonstrate that you have the capability to do whatever it is you're talking about doing. And in our case, of course, it was putting up a building. So the first thing that people want to know when you're in that kind of a situation is, do you have enough financial support behind you to do and finance the construction of this building? Because if you don't, everybody's going to be in trouble. So we got this and we made it work well. Then there was the negotiations with the subcontractors. Now, I ended up doing a lot of the subcontractor negotiation, and that was fun also, because we were in a place that we were in control and we had the upper hand. And of course, these guys had to do what we said. Well, not always, but most of the time. And we worked with a lot of subcontractors that were very good also. A lot of subcontractors that were actually much bigger than we were as a general contractor. So we had to really develop a good sense of negotiating with companies that could really outperform us in many ways and outdo us financially. And we developed some very quality relationships through that process. A lot of these people, though, knew us from working for the other company that we were with. So we had some background there that they knew about us. So our credibility was good. However, we still had to perform. So regardless of what you're negotiating, whether it's with your company and doing something big, or whether you're negotiating with your spouse, or whether you're negotiating with your kids, you still have to perform whatever is negotiated, even if that goes to, say, an allowance for the kid. If you negotiate a certain allowance with your kid, boy, you better perform on that one, huh? Or else your credibility is going to be out the window quick. However, negotiating is something that we all do. Every day we negotiate something somewhere, even if we're not totally aware of it. So think about how you negotiate. What is your style of negotiating? Do you come in with an iron hand, or do you come in looking for win-win situations? I always think win-win situations are the best for everybody. If I win and the other person loses, that's going to create problems. If they win and I lose, that's going to create big problems. So we need to look for win-win situations when we negotiate. I hope you think about the different kinds of environments that you negotiate in and what is going to be a win-win situation for all involved. Madam Toastmaster.